Hello, Mr. Lang.
Hello, Howard.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm so happy that you granted me this time and your energy and your kindness. I really appreciate you doing this.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, USA.
Okay,
Yeah, where are you in England?
in London.
Oh, gotta love it, huh? Have you been there long?
Yeah, quite a few years. Yes, thank you. Yes.
I've just started doing these interviews, say a few weeks ago, and I've had some great interviews, but I really had to work on my timing. I was I was late for one yesterday, and I had to reschedule one the other week, and now I'm early with you. I really appreciate you working with me on this.
Okay. So what
Well,
would you like to talk about?
oh, the headless way, of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
how did you find it? How did
A
you come
friend,
across it?
a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, who I've been talking to for years. Um, we speak about non-duality and existence itself, and all these kind of things. We're just that kind of people. And he told me about you right away. I probably met him approximately 2-3 years ago, I guess. And he immediately was all about the headless way, and I really loved it. But he never told me where he got it from. And he finally shared a link with me. I would say maybe 2 months ago, and I
Oh,
said, "Oh, this is where you got it." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I started watching, and I decided I just had to speak with you because it's I know it does wonders for him. Uh, the simplicity of the exercises really resonates with him.
oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. And I love seeing your links and studying your stuff over these past couple of months. Um, we have a different way of approaching the same thing, and the same thingless thing. And I really resonate with the exercises and the things that you are,
So
you're alluding to.
when you do the pointing experiment, you point back to your true nature, right?
Sure. That's something I would love to talk to you about. What do you mean by true nature?
Well, you when you point back, you don't see your face, do you?
No, sir.
That's your true nature.
Mm,
But you see, it's a non-verbal experience. I say everyone gets it because no one can see their face. No one
yes.
can see their head. So everyone gets it. People respond differently, but it's a non-verbal experience. So you can describe it in 1,000 different ways. So if true nature isn't the words, if you don't like those, you find something else.
Yes, yes. The interesting thing that I find with your work is you start with uh, we're here. This is happening. Um, it's more of a you can't negate the conceptual self in order to complete something that's already whole. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you.
Understood, yes.
Yeah. So we're here. We're having a conversation. We're speaking to each other, and you you allude to the small self and the big self, and that's something that fascinates me about what you're saying. Um, I think the the little self being what appears to be an individual consciousness, and though you have no head, are you thinking? Are you conscious? What is that versus the big self, the big consciousness?
Well, um, yes, of course you're conscious. I mean, that's self-evident, isn't it? And you're thinking, and but as you grow up, you become aware of your individual self. And I'm aware of being Richard. You're aware of being Howard. But it is your central reality is not Howard. It's the space in which Howard is appearing.
Hmm.
So
So
you
does
you've got both, really.
So yeah, I agree with that. It's both. Um, so what I'm curious about is the space between individuals being true being, if that's what you're saying. Are you saying that as an individual, one, appears to exist? You're saying that we think, we're conscious, yet the space in which we appear to be doing those things is the actual true being, the big
Well,
one.
you see, it can be described in different ways. I think that's quite a good way of describing it. I don't think there's one way of describing it, but I mean, I assume, like me, that you're noticing you're looking out of open space now, your single eye. And that's what we have in common is it's a mystery. It doesn't have my name on it or my nationality. It's not in London. It's not in North Carolina. It is the space in which everything is happening. Now, you could say, one way of thinking about it is your view out from that space is of North Carolina, and my view out is of London. And when I look in the mirror, I see Richard and you see Howard. They're different views out from this one consciousness. Now, I can't explain that, but that's a way of thinking about it. And when you're a baby, you don't know about yourself. You don't really know about others. And growing up is becoming aware of who you are for others, who you are in society, and identifying with that. So I grow up and learn I appear as Richard, and I take that on board. And now, and by the time I'm an adult, I'm fully identified with Richard, and I'm not aware of my true nature, you see. Now, when you wake up to who you are, you have both. You're aware you are a person in the world, but the reality behind that appearance is the one, which is the same in everyone. So this changes everything. As you're growing up, you just become aware of your separate self. So I'm not you, and you're a mystery to me in that way. When I wake up to who I really am, I realize that everyone is this space. So you're still a mystery, but I know who you really are. Now that changes everything. So in a certain sense, I can say, I am you. I don't know what you're thinking and feeling and all of that, but I know who you really are. And now, that doesn't then mean that I have to somehow get rid of the idea I'm Richard. I have both, and
Yes.
that's the way it's given.
Yes. So the big one and the small one, you refer to this quite a bit. Could you could you explain that a little bit?
No, I don't think you can explain these things beyond a certain point. It's the way it's given. But that's what I was talking about. The big one is language. The big one is the single eye that you're looking out of now. So, I mean,
Okay.
all right, you've got that. And the little one is the one you see on the screen. What's difficult about that?
Nothing at all.
No.
It's beautiful. I love the point or the perspective aspect of it. It definitely resonates with me as far as being close or being far. I love that kind of thing. I'm just wondering, do you think time and space is actual? Do you believe it exists?
Right. Well, there are lots of different ways of looking at this, you see. But I love time and space. And I would say I am looking out of the timeless into time.
Yes.
Here, it's 3:15 or something in the afternoon. And so you don't have to, I don't, I enjoy time and space from the timeless, and you've got both. So that's the same thing, isn't it? You don't have to get rid of your little self to see the big self. You don't have to get rid of time to find the timeless. You look from the timeless into time.
Is it actual, or does it appear to be time and space?
You're trying. why does that matter to you? I mean, what are you driving at? I take the world as real. I accept it as real. I think that being aware of who you really are lends a kind of reality to the world. You are the reality at the heart of all the appearances. Well, you can't separate the reality from the appearances. And Douglas Harding had a quite good way of talking about it, just one way, the as is and the as if. The as is I'm the big one. That's as it is given. That's my direct first person experience. But I act as if I'm Richard.
Yeah.
I act as if time is real. And, there's some renovation going on below, which you could probably hear. I act as if there's, the rest of the world that I can't see, and deeply. It's not like take it or leave it. I will get out the way of an oncoming bus. I don't just say I'm immortal, see what happens. It's it's a very deep conditioning to treat the world as real, and that isn't a mistake. There's something very beautiful about the reality of the world. Now, you're looking at it from this freedom and from this timelessness. You've got both. And you take yourself seriously as a person. When I see who I really am, I don't just dismiss everyone as pictures in consciousness, as some people might think. They're just not real. They're just appearances. No, I take it as deeply real and beautiful, really, in that way. And
Yes, the you got a drilling going on. That's
someone.
Well, I think it's amazing in that we can, let's say, saying this is real and accepting it as real, without a definition, really. I mean, it appears real, but I can't know what you mean by real. Like, I can't know what you mean by blue, for example. I can't know what you mean by, the smell of ginger. So for us to say or to agree upon a reality is fairly subjective, although it does appear as if we are separate individuals in time and space.
Yeah, but what is not what we can agree on is where we're coming from, because there's nothing here to differ. Yes. Your experience of blue might be mine of red, but your experience of no thing can't be different from my experience of no thing, the central reality, because there's nothing here to differ about. And that is where we come together. And it's the place I'm looking out of, and I accept it's the place that you're looking out of. And that brings us together.
So to say that everything is nothing or nothing is everything, what would you mean by that?
Well, these are words, Howard, and yes, I'm looking out of what I would call nothing, or space, or awareness, or my true nature, or my single eye, or stillness, right? Yes, and if you don't know what I mean, then you point and look and you go, oh yeah, right, now I got it, you see?
Right.
And then you look out into the world and you could say, well, this nothing is full of everything, or this nothing is everything, or I am space for everything, or everything is in me. So the more ways you can say it, the better. And everyone will say it in a slightly different way, I should think.
Is there existence beyond the immediate experience?
Well, it's the as is and the as if. The as is there is only what is given in awareness now, but I act as if at 10 o'clock this evening, something else, or I act as if there's Australia.
Practicality, yes.
Yeah, but deeply. I mean, it works. It works. So it's both, really. I mean, this is very practical. it's not practical to, to say, oh, well, Australia doesn't exist. And you're in, it works,
Yes, sir. Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. I spent a good deal of time. Well, I spent a good deal of time talking about it anyways, but people will ask me about practical applications. And this is what fascinates me about the Headless Way, in that unapologetically and practically, it gives you an example of, well, you cannot know. It might be both, it might be neither, but it appears as so. It appears as such. You're in Australia, I'm here in North Carolina. We're individuals having a conversation. Though that is not what is actually happening, it appears that way. So it kind of does and does not happen. And in a practical kind of sense, what I hear you saying is accept the appearance of two individuals, accept the appearance of yourself, accept the appearance of others, and realize that that is kind of the expression of the one, the big one.
Well, there you are. I think you said it very well, you see.
Like, I was reaching there for a minute. But no, yes, so the one would be basically immediate experience and what may or may not be beyond it. It doesn't.
Well, you see, I think the fun thing is to say, all right, well, let's start again and describe it as we're actually experiencing it, rather than going to some idea or textbook and trying to sort of fit your experience into that. Let's start again. What are you looking out of? Are you looking out of two eyes, or are you looking out of one single eye? You see, are you in the room, or is the room in you from your point of view? Well, of course, I mean, you start with, I'm a person. That's how you grow up. You start with that, I'm a person. And then you check it out and say, oh, no, I'm not. Well, maybe I'm both, you see. Now we're exploring what it, our actual experience.
Yes, yes. So it's fascinating because I agree on so many levels in that, the appearance of us is here, and I find it amazing. I love life. I'm grateful for every second. I love this, this entire mystery is beautiful to me. But as far as knowing that I exist, for example, as existence exists, to say existence exists as it appears would be a bit of an assumption for me.
Well, I don't think, I disagree profoundly.
Okay.
So I think the only thing you can know is that you are. That is self-evident, that you are.
But are you as you appear?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I accept that I am, but who knows?
Right. Well, exactly. So we don't know really that the perspective itself, the headless way pointing, to and fro, which is absolutely amazing, and everybody can get that. But is it actually true that there's a perspective at all? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, of course, simply because, what we're talking about is accepting what appears obvious. Yet, for me, it's not so obvious that I am thinking or that I am conscious sometimes. And I'm wondering, because it cannot be objectively true that I am the object of my brain. I am the object of my body, because I am not that object. So I'm not that object, and that means that I'm not the culmination of that object, which would be my mind. So is it me that's actually thinking? And is what appears to be the separation of reality, the separation of time and space, is it actual?
I think you're tying yourself in knots here.
No. Well, what I'm saying is that.
Yeah, no, I think I understand.
It's not.
No, well, I'll respond to that. Okay. The as is world, there is only my actual experience. I mean, what else do I know? And so this is the world. It's not my world compared to yours, because I don't know yours. So from the as is, direct first person point of view, this is the real world. This is it, hanging in space, if I can put it like that. And there's Richard and Howard on the screen there, and a headless body here, and that's it. But I also act as if you're over there in North Carolina and I'm here in London, and I act as if there's some, more than what I'm seeing. But I distinguish between that as is and the as if. But the as if doesn't threaten the as if. The as is. My identification with Richard and my treating you as real, and my treating the rest of the world as real, it doesn't conflict or threaten my experience of my true nature, which is one and alone and single, and all is in me, if I can put it like that. But I mean, when you realize it doesn't threaten it, you say, well, let's go for it. Let's play, let's, well, why not? The one wants to talk to itself. That's what's happening here. The one is talking to itself as if part of itself is in North Carolina and part of itself is in London. Now what's bad about that?
Nothing at all. I think I completely agree. The playground of it, or it's real, and it's also a playground. It's the wonderment of the inability to actually know objective truth actually frees me up to simply enjoy it as it appears.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it really is beautiful. That I think, like on a philosophical point, I think I run into several different types of people within the non-duality realm, or just in general public. But some people will assume the universe is real, or say that it's real, in that time and space exists. We're individuals that are navigating a small piece of it. And then there are other people who say that obviously we are here, as you are saying, we are here, and then we go to what may or may not be reality. And then we have other folks that say nothing is real. There is absolutely nothing, and there's nothing to start with because there's no foundation. So what I like about the practicality of what you're saying is it does begin with the assumption that, or I shouldn't say assumption, I should say the acceptance that we are here, that we appear here as individuals. And I think that's what I'm trying to find out from you. Is it an assumption, or is it something that you just accept and don't care about? Because it doesn't.
Well, it's all of that, really. It's practical as well, and it also means when you take that seriously, that you're a person and the world is real, that you can talk to ordinary people.
Yes.
And understand where they're coming from. And what is I like the headless way, because it means you can talk in ordinary terms to ordinary people and they get it,
Right.
And you're not saying like, oh, you're not real and I'm not real and the world's not real, and they go, yeah, what?
What?
Yeah. So
Right.
that didn't work out very well, did
Right,
it?
right. It doesn't very often, no.
How is that working out for you?
Well, and that's the thing. I was speaking to some non-dual speakers the other day, where this is it. This is it, and there's no self, there's no other. We are the expressions of nothing in particular. We are basically the expression of nothing expressing itself. And it's difficult.
Doesn't go very far, does it?
No, not. It's a conversation killer for sure.
It is. Yeah. And it kills. Yeah.
It truly is.
But they wouldn't mind. They wouldn't mind.
No.
Because nothing's happening anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, we all, you can sit there and look at each other and smile. The reality is once you grasp that aspect of it, well, here we are. What do we do now?
I know, you're interviewing me.
Yes, actually, I've I was really glad. I was so grateful that you accepted. And if it wasn't for my friend, I wouldn't have come upon you. And,
is he someone I know?
Probably not. His name's Justin Lucido. He's great. He's definitely grilling me about, how are you going to talk to him? What are you going to say? What are you going to? And I said, he was mentioning God, for example. We like to have fun with vocabulary. We like to have fun with words and this and that. And he likes to play around with these topics. And but I've noticed that you use the word God on occasion. And actually, oddly enough, right before the interview, I came across some great things about the hierarchy of heaven and earth regarding angelology.
Oh,
is that something? I mean, can you talk about that? Angelology and in regards to heaven and earth.
Well, that's a big topic, but you see, when you realize you're nothing at center, then you realize that at a distance you appear as a person, right? So
yes, sir.
Through the camera now, you're seeing what I look like at 3 feet, 6 feet or something. But then you understand that if you came up to me, you'd find that I was a layer of cells. And that is as real in a way as my human appearance. And you come closer and I'm molecules. So in other words, I am nothing at center, and I appear like if you drop a stone in a pond and ripples spread out, then you're picking up one of the ripples from my central nothingness. But at that range, it's the human, it's developed into a human. But if you intercepted that ripple at an earlier stage, it would be more primitive, actually. It'd be cells and so on.
Yes.
Now that ripple keeps going out. Mm-hmm. So if you intercepted it from, my appearance from nothing here at, I don't know, 20,000 feet, you'd see London, and I would be appearing as London, and I take that seriously. Mm-hmm. And if you then looked at me from Venus or Mars, then by the time my appearance had got that far out, it would be appearing as Earth. Oh, we got a...
Yes.
So hang on. I'll just wait till the drilling's finished. Okay. So in terms of the angelology bit is putting something in a traditional term, and angels were beings of
they keep it's like they're timing it for you.
They are. So angels traditionally were very high beings, I suppose. Now, what Douglas is saying there is only relating it to tradition. He's not saying that, there are people with wings or anything like that. He's saying that at a great range, your appearance is the Earth. Then your appearance is the star. And your appearance even further away, by the time it gets out there, is a galaxy. Now that as a star or a galaxy, or these are very long-lived bodies of yours, and very different from your human. And so that, and at closer layers are subhuman layers of you. The particles, you see, which hardly last, So all these are layers of you, which Douglas relates to the kind of Dante's kind of cosmos of spheres, or the the layers of your being.
Sure.
And so that's what there's a tremendous amount in it. And Douglas is based on science, but he connects it with tradition.
So tradition and not religion or spirituality. Is he referring to beings that are somehow, godlike, or is there a God?
No, these are aspects of your own, of you.
Okay.
That it's quite a big topic, this, but these are not. This is you appear as a human and you identify as Howard. You see,
Yes, sir.
But at a greater range, you are the planet, and we're we do identify with the planet, actually. If someone from Mars landed anywhere on the planet, you'd say they landed here.
Yes.
They land on your body. Or if someone from another star lands on Mars, you'd say, well, they've landed here on my star. You see, so but anyway, there's a lot in that, but it's not believing in some higher being. It's just a way of thinking about the layers of your own body mind, really.
Internally and externally, and perhaps because I was watching some of Douglas's, if I may call him Douglas, Mr. Harding's stuff.
Douglas, fine.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a friend, so I call him Douglas. Yeah.
If I may, he was speaking a little bit about finding God in this headless way, in that you are now zero perspective, looking out upon essentially everything and nothing, as you were saying. And from that perspective, I believe he referred to it as the desert, the desert of man seeing God. I believe, yeah, the desert of man, seeing God for what it was. It was actually kind of beautiful, but I know that you have a Christian background. I myself have read the Bible, and I love the story and all of that. Move beyond it, but and I noticed that Douglas as well seems to have some of that spiritualism in him, and it appears to me that what you are saying is incorporating these things, not necessarily literally, but as a part of the story of who we are, and who we are is essentially this immediate experience expressing itself as everything and nothing.
Yes, well, one of the things that Douglas Harding did was to not only relate this to science, but relate it to religion, in the sense that he took the view that this experience of nothing and everything, who you really are, manifesting as a person, is at the heart of all the great religions. And that it was what those people, Buddha, Jesus, and so on, were talking about and trying to communicate about. And probably got lost a bit in places. But when Jesus said, when your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light, well, you've got a single eye. Or when the Zen Buddhists say, look for your original face, the face you had before your parents were born, well, here it is, you see.
Yes.
And so the thing is that you are not going to the scriptures to find out if you've got it right. You're going to the scriptures to see if they've got it right. You are the authority on you.
Right.
Only you are where you are. And you don't look out to others to confirm, really, or to, say, oh, you should do it this way or that. You say, well, look, I'm home. I've got it 100%.
Yes.
And I've got my own understanding of it. And I'm going to read you and see if that corresponds with what you're saying, And Douglas used to say, well, Jesus said, if your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light with no place dark. And he obviously meant this, but if he didn't, he should have.
Mm. Yes, I love that. I love what you just said, because that resonates with me on so many levels. It's you're not looking for them to tell you the truth. You're looking to see if they understand what you mean by truth. I love that.
Well,
That's
and also
amazing.
then that means, like in our conversation, that we're not trying to pin it down in words.
Right.
I totally accept that you're looking out of open space like I am. So it just doesn't cross my mind that you would not be, or you would see it differently, or I
Yeah.
see it clearer than you. That's nonsense,
Right.
And as soon as you see it's absolutely obvious, and everybody's looking out of it, whether they know it or not. So you start from the position that you are agreed in a way, even if they don't know about it. And then you explore how they are responding to it differently from you. And that means that you're not arguing over words. You're beyond that, and you're hopefully listening to their different response to it, which is, I would say, was the whole point of the one becoming many.
Mm.
So it
Well,
could
yeah.
argue. So it could argue with itself.
or agree. I love that Alan. It reminds me of Alan Watts, and how he said, eventually God got tired of knowing everything and decided to make an unknowable situation, and
Oh,
where, and so everything, when you say it's a mystery
I
or
think
you
you
enjoy.
overdid it. Don't you? I think you overdid it.
I mean, because you really cannot know anything objectively. So in this way, I would, I like to play with that. The subject of God comes up a lot. So, I say, well, when you appreciate the unknowing, or when you appreciate the unknowability of it, you're basically giving homage to God, because you don't know, and there's no way to know. You can, there's no way that you can say this is true or this is false. There
Well,
is
no, I
just.
disagree. Yeah,
Sure.
because I think you can. I think you can say I am space for the world, and I am looking out of open space. I say, well, that's true. That's true.
What am I? What does that mean, I?
Well, no, I know, I understand, you can't define it in the end, and it's a mystery. But having said that and accept that and seeing that you are it, I mean, it's not distant. It's not something over there you don't get. You are it. So it's a paradox. But
Yeah.
then I think you can happily, use language happily and say, I'm the one and I'm space for you and you're the one. And, because we know we've got the experience, we don't have to worry so much about getting the words exactly right.
Mhm. I'm just wondering where thought comes from. If because if the self is not the brain and the self is not the mind, then who am I? And where does thought come from? How can I claim thought if I am not either of those things? If I'm not my brain or my mind, and what is self and how is thinking relevant
Well,
to
you
it?
can look at it developmentally. When you're a baby, you have a feeling. I don't know how much you think, but it just comes up out of nowhere, right? Just
Right.
appears. And as you grow up, you learn to think of yourself as somebody centrally, because
Mhm.
that's what everyone is telling you. So you learn that your thoughts come from you,
Mhm.
right? So you learn to take responsibility for what you think and feel and do.
Mhm.
And that is your entry ticket into society. You must do that.
Yeah.
Accept that your thoughts come from you as a thing. But then when you wake up to who you really are, you see that they come from nowhere, but you still accept socially that they're your thoughts.
Okay.
And actually, that what you've done there in growing up is you've got a sense of authorship or agency going that you didn't have as a baby. I am the author of my actions. Well, are you really? Don't they just come up? Yeah, but I've learned that I am. So it's a workable convention. But
Mhm.
then that has tremendous benefits in a way, because then when you see you're the one, on the one hand, you can say, oh, well, I don't know where my thoughts come from. They just appear. All right. That's one end of the paradox. But the other is, because you've now got the idea of authorship, you say, well, actually, Richard isn't the author of my thoughts. The one is the author of my thoughts.
Mhm.
You see, and you
Is
take responsibility, but the one is the author of my thoughts, the one is the author of my voice, the one is the author of the trees. I
so
am the
the
author of everything, really.
so the one is immediate experience, or the one is what? I mean, does the universe exist, for example?
I thought we'd solved that one.
Well,
I thought we'd sorted that one out.
these things tend to overlap. But well, the thing is that if we cannot know that we're thinking, and it's a convention,
And I do know
um,
I'm thinking. I have to. The one is disagreeing with itself here. I know I'm thinking.
what then? The one is. I'm sorry, I don't get. What is the one? What is the big one? Then? I mean, is there cause and effect for that, or is it just happening? Or I mean, what is the one?
Well, you're back to trying to pin it down, and you can't pin it down. And then so let's use words that work for us. The one is the space I'm looking out of. The one is space for everything. The one is where my thoughts come from.
Mhm. So it really you there is no knowing whether or not the universe actually exists, or if it's just immediate experience, if I am the author of anything, all of that, even the question of it is the one.
All right. Well, I understand what you're saying. That's one way of putting it.
Okay. It's fascinating to me. It's because for me, question, it begins. It's so paradoxical to speak about, but even cause and effect tend to, that it no longer, there's no place to begin, there's no place to end, there's no place to walk. There appears to be, and we can have a conversation and we can interact with each other and all of that kind of thing. But if it's all just one, then all of that is just the story of separation in time and space. It's not actually happening, it's just appearing to happen as one.
I get that. Yeah, that's the as is. But we act as if, you see.
Ah,
And that you can't get by without acting as if.
yes.
And there's no need to try and get by without it. It is all part of it. And
Right.
at its own level, it has a reality and a usefulness.
Does cause and effect exist?
Yes.
Yes. Well, if there's
I did.
well,
I read it somewhere.
well, I think for the little one, it appears to, but for the big one, if there's only one, what could cause and what could affect? So it's like the paradox of there only being one, but yet there's an appearance of a little one. So within the big one, so cause and effect for one would be what? I mean, if there's no, you see what I'm saying? If
Yeah, but I
it's
mean, it doesn't go down very well with the policeman. It doesn't. There's no cause and effect. I'm not here. you know.
it's a perspective. I wasn't doing 100, I swear. Yeah.
My joke about that, the experiment, you're still and the world moves through you, you see. Well,
Yes, yes.
you see, that's your first person. And so the policeman stops you and said, you were speeding. You were going 100 miles an hour, you say. And you say, no, I wasn't. I was still. I wasn't going anywhere. I was absolutely still. The world was moving. I wasn't speeding. And the policeman goes, well, you won't mind having the jail inside you then, will you?
Ironically, the jail is inside of me.
I'd rather have the park.
Oh my gosh, I'd rather take a stroll through the park any day. Yes, the I think what I'm hearing, I think what I'm understanding is that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but this
I will
is
do. I will do. Yes.
um, this is about the practicality of what appears to be an individual in time and space. It simply is. It's about, you know, allowing someone to release themselves of, you know, the questions that might arise with the paradox of self and other and these kind of things, but to basically assume the self as an individual that has a will, for example, free will.
No, wrong, wrong.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, no, I would say, you see, it is about returning, you know, if you're asking the question, who am I? It's about who am I? I would say, today I say this, I might not say it tomorrow. You know, it's about what am I? How do I find out who I am? No one else is right where I am, so I have to look for myself. So I do the experiments to check out. I've heard a rumor that I am not what I look like at center.
Yes.
That I am something else. I'm wide open space for the world. So let me check that out. Oh yeah, no, it's true. You see, I look. So I'm not assuming anything, hopefully. I mean, you can't get by without assuming things. But in this sense, I'm saying, let me look for myself at what I am. And sharing the headless way is saying to people, look, you are where you are. No one else is where you are. You look like a person. I accept that. You accept that. But what are you privately? Have a look, do the experiments and test out the hypothesis that you're not a thing at center. And then if that is true, I say, take it seriously, live from that, enjoy it, you see.
Yes, yes. Yes, the perspective of the self, though not validated, definitely is. I mean, would you validate the self? Do you validate? I mean, you say the self exists as it appears in time and space?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you say time doesn't exist, right?
No, I didn't say that. I said I look into time from the timeless.
From the timeless.
I accept time where it's given. I accept. You look at a star, and it takes 10 years for the light to get to you, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, there you've accepted time. You've accepted distance. You see,
Right.
and it arrives here in the now, but you're looking into the past in a way. You're looking into time, and yeah.
Well, that's fascinating to me because it's dimensional. Okay, it's the same perspective in that you're saying that there is the real you is dimensionless, essentially. The one is dimensionless.
Well, at the beginning of the hierarchy, Douglas Harding starts the hierarchy of heaven and earth with, what am I? Common sense says I'm a man. So he starts with common sense, where we all start. We all start with I'm a person, and then you question it. And he questioned it, he said, well, what am I? Common sense actually can't help me here because common sense isn't here. I'm the only one who is here. Oh, look, I'm not a man, a person. I'm a headless body with a world on my shoulders. Now, the first thing he says is that you're like, in a way, you're like a mirror. Everything is here. There's no distance and no time, right? That's the first person. It's sort of flat. But you can't live like that. You actually look out into distance and say, well, the tree is there and the star is further away. And so he calls that projection. And so you've got both. Everything is given here, and yet it's there. Everything is given now, and yet it's then.
Well, that's beautiful. I'm just trying to. Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, phew! Oh God, I was worried.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just trying to.
Good.
We're just having fun with language. That my friend told me I had an interview with a guy. We spoke for 4 hours, and at the end he said, "Well, you were getting a little bit this way or that, and you were being matter of fact and not saying that, things are just words, and we're just playing with language." And I said, well, it was 4 hours. And, you
4
know,
hours.
yeah, I said, it was 4 hours. And
This isn't going to be 4 hours.
no, 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 no,
I can tell you that.
no, I'm kidding with you. No, but yeah, it was 4 hours. And the thing about it is I told him, I said, well, you know, when you have an interview, you got to have something to talk about. You know, I can't just sit
What
there and
are
say,
we talking about?
that's a beautiful thing. Well, that's actually a great question. Well, I couldn't tell
Hang on.
you.
No, no, no. You're interviewing me.
I'm trying. I'm,
Retake.
yeah, right. You will snip, snip. Um, but yes, I think I see what you mean in that that time and space do appear, but obviously are not, you know, validatable. You know, time and space is it's subjective to velocity, dimension, and all of that kind of thing. Much like
You
your
see that
pointer.
that noise is not really happening.
but it is dimensional in that way, in that, you know, maybe I see it a little different than most people. I would guess, but because we're talking about scale, essentially, we're talking about scale and dimension and how it relates to an individual and how they uh, navigate life, how they navigate, you know, their existence. So something that was incredibly small, say close to the quantum, we wouldn't understand that as time and space. You know, same with something that was as big as a cluster of galaxies. They're not going to see us as time and space, you know, as we do. So in that
Completely
way,
lost. I'm lost.
well, it's dimensional.
You've
It's
succeeded. I give in.
that well, it's dimensional. It's the same thing. It's in a different way. But I digress. I apologize. Um, I just found the headless way amazing, and I
We
wish.
pick the one day when there's all this noise. That must be the universe deciding that, you know,
Right, right.
poking holes in the conversation.
Yes, sir. So
Well,
what would
it's
you?
just to, you know, seeing who you are, the headless way is noticing what it's like to be you. What are you looking out of? I mean, it sort of cuts through all that kind of philosophy in a way and says, let's just come back to what it's like to be you now. Are you looking out of a head, or are you open space for the world? And, you know, are you face to face with others, or is it face to no face? Now that's very beautiful. Face to no face is you. It's a different language in a way you need to describe this first person experience. Face to face is the third person experience from the outside, but the inside is I have your face, you have mine. Now that is completely different, and that's intimate and respectful, and gives insight into the true nature of the other person as well as yourself. Yeah. So it's simple, and it you know it's very easy to get lost in philosophy. I like philosophy, but the headless way is saying, all right, you know, let's just come back to what it's like to be you. How big are you? Are you in the world, or is the world in you? Now that's a big question. Yeah.
Huge, yes. Right, and you know the amazing part of that question. I love the practicality of it, because all of these problems that may appear in the world, you know, to an individual, they seem insurmountable. You know, there's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of suffering, and you know, I say out there, but there's suffering internally as well. And I think maybe that's kind of a shared experience, much like you are the face of, you know, you are my you know, you are my face at this point. You know, I'm looking at you. You are the expression of the totality of existence in this moment. And when I talk to other people and they ask about the practicality of the message or what I'm saying, I really don't have much to say to them. Whereas with the headless way, I see the practicality of it. You can apply this to your day-to-day life
Hmm.
and have it, reap many benefits as far as, the
That's
lack
right.
of.
And you're still, and you're when you're walking, the scenery moves through you. And when you're on the phone to someone, both voices are in your awareness. It's very practical. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You say you've been doing this for 40 years?
50 something. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. And you met Douglas Harding at Cambridge.
Before Cambridge. Yeah. Yeah. When I was at school. Yeah. I know. I know.
That's it. Well, what I was going to ask you is
I'm
what
an
it,
advanced soul.
well, what was it that attracted you to Douglas Harding? Like, I mean, how did you guys meet?
Oh, he was giving a talk at a Buddhist conference, and I was interested in my true nature, and went to the conference. I didn't know about him, and I just went along, and he showed me. It was pure chance that he was there. I was there, but I was looking for my true nature, and just was fortunate to meet him, and he showed me. So then I kept in touch, and became friends with, made lots of friends of people who value this. So, I mean, I've got lots and lots of friends that I share this with, and it's a wonderful thing to share. Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. I have I've been fascinated by this for through my friend now for a few years. I wish he had told me that it was you in the first place, and I could have gone directly to the source. That would have been very helpful. I noticed that you said something. If you don't mind, am I? Can I have a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. I was noticing you said something about the first person. First person. Um,
Yeah, it's
uh,
language. First person and third person. First person is I in language. First person singular is
okay.
I, and third person is, he or she, or second person is you. So the first person is headless, and the third person, the one in the mirror, you as an appearance, has got a head, and there's the difference. And it's both are true. You see, so you answer to your name, and you answer to, your when someone says your name, and you answer to that one. But privately, first person wise, you are space for the world.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing, and I actually resonate with that because it actually appears as if this is you're the eyes of the world, in so to speak. You
Yes.
know, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, but you don't see your own eyes. You see yourself through others. It's amazing.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I love it so much. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I don't. You know, I think I tend to think of things a little bit deeper than some, and almost unnecessarily at times. I mean, it just doesn't need to be. There really is no. I want to say there is no explanation for reality. To even say that it's reality
Now you
itself.
tell me.
Huh?
Now you tell me.
Right, right. There's no explanation. It really
Well,
is. It's beautiful in that, and the headless way, I think, accommodates that with the practicality
yeah, that's right.
of what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no really need to know.
Now, everything is in you. You're the one. There's no one else. Can you please pass the salt?
Well, doctor told me to lay down on the salt. But yes, that's exactly what it is. It seems as if um, we have come to an agreement that basically lays everything else to, lays it all down. We don't really need to play with anything as far as knowing or truth or understanding. But
Well, everyone's different, you see. Let's give it 5 more minutes. I've got to do some things. But the headless way, just I like it because it is so down to earth, and it gives the authority back to you, and you don't have to believe anything. You look for yourself, and then it makes sense in terms of science and the as if world, if you like, and all of that. And so it's very sort of down to earth and sane, really. And you're not trying to achieve some difficult state of consciousness. You're not even trying to purify your thoughts, which I couldn't do. I mean, how can you do it anyway? It's just endless. You're looking at your thoughts from no thought, and that's normal. Everyone's looking at their thoughts, So this is very down to earth. It is for everyone who wants it. You've got it 100%. You don't have to join a club. You can't do it wrong. You just got to do it if you want to benefit from it and you want to enjoy it. But it's not that difficult at all. To look now, you're looking out of open space. What's difficult about that? There are lots of people to hang out with if you want friends who are sharing this. So I feel privileged to be able to be in a position where I'm asked to share it. I think, wow, that's wild.
Well, I think it's amazing what you've done with. I heard that you were Douglas Harding's executor, or you set up a charity in his name. I think that's absolutely fabulous, and the way you guys have, the way you resonate with him, and were able to carry on his message, but that it stayed the same so long. The message itself, the exercises, they're so simple and so easy to.
Well, you can't improve them, really, can you? I mean, you can develop them in certain ways, but really, I mean, they do the job, and they test the hypothesis that you're not what you look like, and they work. So not, so if you're interested, and if they appeal to you, then use them, and they're free to use.
Where can people get in touch with workshops and things of that nature with
Well,
you
go
guys?
to the website headless.org, and we have free Zoom meetings every week, so anyone who's interested can drop in and meet others, and they can find out about that through me.
Yes.
That's not sort of advertised on the website. It's for people who have done the experiment, so they know what it's about. And then there's lots on the website, lots on the YouTube channel, lots of books, so whatever appeals to you, really.
Yes. Well, I think it's amazing, and I think that you've really done me a service here by giving me your time and patience, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, and also great to meet you, Howard. And
thank you so much. It's truly my pleasure, my honor.
Well, we'll keep in touch, right?
I hope so. Yes, sir. Maybe in 6 months' time I'll be better at this.
Well,
I'll
I
be able
hope
to
so.
give it.
You were terrible.
At least you're honest. Okay,
No,
Mr.
I'm
Lang.
joking. You're brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you what, I love this kind of stuff, and anytime you wish to contact me for any reason, please do. I absolutely love these topics. I love the headless way. I think this is amazing, and it's simple, it's basic, and it's also infinite in its own right.
Well, I'll send you the information about the Zoom groups, Howard, and then you can drop in if you like.
Absolutely.
And hope to see you there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Sounds good. I would love. I can always use more friends. That's definitely. I like that attractive aspect.
We all can. Yeah. Good.
So I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you real soon.
All right, Howard. Take care.
Thank you, Richard. Let's see here. And here. Okay, recording ended.